Good evening. Welcome to Dashboard.
Hello.
How are you?
We have a special guest. It's the Three Stooges here, and then of course the much more sophisticated Matt Collyer, who has a much more
my goodness,
sophisticated not only aesthetic but also his accent. So welcome.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
How fun was it to watch us run around and set all this up in the last 15 minutes like monkeys?
It's been the highlight of my week so far, but it is only Monday. So
Yes, exactly.
There you go.
I'll take whatever trophy we can get. I also just realized that we didn't plug the actual laptop in, so
It may die.
Oh,
we're on a bit of a gambit here.
okay. Well, this will be around a speed dating then, Matt, potentially. But
Okay.
why don't you start with the good stuff? Tell us about yourself. We obviously know that you are the purveyor of morning meats primarily, among other things. But
We'll start there.
yeah,
Yeah. So morning meets is my main gig. For those that don't know, morning meets is a private car community within primarily the GTA, but we do span across Ontario. We're at about 300 members right now. It is a paid access to community, but with that, we put on roughly 50 events per year. So everything from driving events to social events, tutorials, track days, you name it, we try and do it. That started about 2 years ago and became my full-time job last year. So continued to grow it ever since. It is the best job ever. I have the most ridiculous job title, but morning meets is my little car community there. And then just this weekend, I took the reins on another app called Sunday Drive that some people might be familiar with.
Yep.
It's the curated driving routes side of things of both Ontario, BC, and just starting to trickle into America as well. So hoping to really grow that over the next couple months. And whilst the season starts to get underway, really start pushing hard with that as well. So try and be as involved as I can in the car community. Obviously, doing 50 events a year means you get a little burnt out from cars sometimes, but the passion never goes away.
Especially here in Ontario, those 50 events are crammed into a short period of time.
Yeah, it adds up to about 2 events per weekend, give or take.
wow, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's the schedule. We'll come back to the morning meet thing in a sec, but I am curious. So I've used the Sunday Drive app before it was even an app. It was really just a web page that you sort of access through a app, I think. And there's a couple around London. There's one that goes from sort of St. Thomas up down.
I've done that one.
The ports, which was cool. I never really got to access any of the ones in the GTA. There's the Halt and Shuffle, or there's a couple up there. The Nürburgring that I think Lucas sort of coined up there. But what happened with? Did someone else sort of start that and just want to take let it die, or how did you come to take it over?
Yeah. So a gentleman named Aniket started it about 3 years ago now. It was his kind of COVID project.
Yeah.
He works in kind of finance, sort of, whilst being vague, and works very, very long hours and needed an escape in the evenings. And he only drives, a Hyundai Sonata, but just loves getting behind the wheel. So started putting together all these driving routes across Ontario. And it seemed to really resonate with a lot of people, both the kind of mental health aspect, just get out for a drive and escape a little bit.
Yep.
But also pulling back the curtains on the fact that Ontario does actually have some good driving routes, contrary to popular belief.
You got to look hard, but
they're there. You just have to fight for them. But he's very, very busy, and over the last kind of year or so, started to take his foot off the gas a little bit. And I had picked up on that and said, what do you want to do with it? He didn't want to sell it, but he felt that given what I'd done with morning meets, he was okay if I wanted to take it on and try and grow it a little further. So I said, let me put some resources together first. Let me think of the plan of how we go about doing this. I want to do it properly and with respect to what you've built. So just relaunched that yesterday. I think the video went out. So yeah, no pressure, but it should be a fun little passion project.
So is there any intersection between morning meets and that app? Like, you mentioned you do these drives, you do various events. Like, can you interlink the two and kind of build on that?
100%. It's quite funny. Morning Meets started because I initially reached out to him about 2 years ago saying, I love the platform. Let me build a community on top of it. And he said, go away, basically. So I had to build my own thing. I'm sure it was more aggressive than that too. But I went and built my own thing using all of his routes. He knew I was doing that, and then I've been building my own list in the background as well. But I do want to keep them separate because Sunday Drive is a really public platform and it's free, and I always want it to be that way, and it's something for the community. So I don't want to use it necessarily as a funnel to push people towards the community or anything like that. I do want to try and keep them separate if possible. If anything, try and build my personal brand a little bit off the back of Sunday Drive, but it's not a commercial endeavor by any means.
Gotcha. Yeah.
These routes, are they sent in by people, or are you, was he on Google Maps looking at it? Like, how do you do it? Like, I can get when you can get like local routes together, but you're trying to, you're saying you're in BC routes, you're going into the US. Like, how do you derive those routes?
So I think we're going to open up application page where people can send in their own routes. But Anikit's been very firm since the very start of that he has to drive them himself, or someone he trusts has to go and drive them himself before he'll post anything online. So yes, we will be accepting new routes, but I want to make sure I can get out there and make sure it's not just a dirt road.
Yeah.
Because what looks good on Google Maps often isn't. Yeah. And I had a few scares with that early on in the morning meets sphere. So it did start with Google Maps, but now it's a lot of people messaging in just through DMs saying, I found this really cool road. Often it is just one road, so you can't make a whole route from it, but more to come there, I think.
Yeah. I think we could put together a route up in
upstate New York.
Pretty damn well.
I was going to ask this, so people, when they find a good road, they want to kind of keep that to themselves as well. So I'm guessing you're going to have a hard time getting submissions.
Yes and no. I've only had access to the Instagram for 2 days now, and I've already must have received 10 or 15 messages from people saying, hey, this route, I've been driving it for 20 years. I'd love to share it with other people.
Nice. That's good.
I am the same a bit, though. If I find a really good road, no one's going to find out about it. But some of the more public ones, definitely people want to share, but I hear what you're saying.
Well, I know a PT cruiser in upstate New York who drives.
Can rip.
Yeah, that guy
rip
can
some
drive.
roads.
Yeah. Yeah, a little backstory on that one.
We should do that. There's a couple of really great ones. We'll apply to be on the app. And we'll the Dashboard hustle or something in upstate New York in the Catskills.
That would be super cool.
Yeah.
So let's go back to, I assume, well, if you're not, I assume there's, you mentioned it's a pay sort of subscription thing. Are you comfortable disclosing, is that an annual fee? Is it a season fee? Is it monthly? Like, how does this work for morning meets?
Yeah, so you pay for a season. So, if you were to buy membership right now, that's good for the rest of 2026. And then it renews right around the spring every year. We give a good window as well for people to do that. But it's not monthly, and you don't buy a year from the day that you start. You just buy into that specific season. So we see a load of members rejoin between January, April, May time, and then it quietens right off again, and often we'll close the application as well. But it is a season pass, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And that gets you access to, at least invited to all of the various things that you're doing. Like when you do something like a track day, is that a bit of an add-on, like a premium experience you've got to buy up into, or what does that look like?
Yeah, if we do things like track days or the kind of weekend getaway tours, there's an additional fee to do that. But we try and keep those as low as humanly possible.
Yep.
The track days were below what you would pay for open lapping, and that was with instructors and catering and things. So we try and subsidize the cost where we can do, but obviously can't cover it for everything.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, if it's less than open lapping, nobody can argue with that. That's incredible.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what have you done, like TMP, like Cayuga, or what types of tracks have you been able to access so far?
Yeah, so last year we just did 2 track days at TMP. We only really got into the track days in the back end of the season.
Yep.
And then we did a big photo shoot on GP circuit at CTMP. But this season we're shooting for 6 track days, and we want that to escalate. So we'll start with TMP, then we'll go to DDT, and then GP at the end. So there's a nice progression for people over the season instead of just straight into the deep end.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's smart. That's very forethought thinking. That's good.
Yeah. I assume you've also consulted a very good lawyer and have your non-responsibility clause airtight on this. That seems like a bit of a risky business, but
Yeah, on the track side of things, there's a lot of paperwork.
yeah, I bet. So in terms of, you were sharing with us previously that you moved to Canada only not that long ago. I mean, it maybe feels like a lifetime with COVID in between, et cetera. But you came over here from the UK, and was the car thing, I assume it wasn't new when you just landed, but tell us kind of maybe about your origin story.
Yeah, so it's a good point. So I got here in 2018. I was 13 at the time. I come from a family where cars isn't really a thing. It wasn't something anyone else was interested in at the time. My little brother maybe, but not much. I got all of my information and entertainment from both YouTube and Top Gear. There was a channel in the UK called Dave that just ran reruns of Top Gear 365 days a year. So that was my go-to.
Sounds perfect.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. And then came over here, went to high school, the full 9 yards. And then around grade 11 was when things kind of switched up for me. That's when I got my driver's license and realized, oh my goodness, there's this whole car scene in Toronto that I didn't know about. I hadn't been able to find it online at all. So that was at the time when collecting cars was in Canada. And
Yeah.
I reached out to the head guy that was running that at the time and said, hey, I would just love to volunteer my time with you guys. I love what you're doing and I just want to be a part of it. So started working with them in grade 11. That progressed into grade 12. And then I got an offer to work there straight out of high school. They ultimately then pulled out of Canada. So I had to go to university for a couple of years, but that's when I started up Morning Meets anyway. So there's a nice little progression in there somewhere. But cars really got involved in my life kind of age 16, 17. And then I turned the dial as far as I possibly could. And was spending every weekend in Toronto around the car scene, meeting new people, doing a bit of photography on the side as well. Just trying to meet as many people as I possibly could.
And the collecting cars thing, I mean, it sounds like maybe the first thing was a bit of an internship, but like when you were doing full time, were you just arranging for auctions? What type of stuff were you doing for them?
Yeah, so I never really went full time with them per se, because I was still a full-on student in high school there, but more the event side of things. So they were doing a lot of really big cars and coffees. I don't remember if you remember the kind of Chris Harris one they did, and then the Yorkville rooftop and things like that.
Yep.
I was involved in understanding the logistics of how they were doing all that, and then actually running the events on the day. So that's, I guess, what progressed into then me running events foremost.
Cool.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's the best way to do it, right? Is start with like a big company, see how things work, and then you're off to the races yourself because nothing changes.
Yeah.
It's all the same.
Absolutely.
So that's an awesome way to start for sure.
Dylan and I are big fans of the now Chris Harrison Friends podcast, previously the Collecting Cars podcast.
Correct.
But it sort of imploded without a whole lot of information. So do you have the inside track? You want to spill the tea on what went down there with Ed? Or?
I haven't heard anything specific other than there might have been a lot of money to keep that quiet. Was what I heard. Something happened, but nothing too extreme, but it was very quickly made quiet. And I'm a big fan of that podcast as well. I listen every week.
Oh,
but,
they're hilarious.
it's just the best. I don't know if you listened to the recent pothole one, but that just had me giggling.
The Bentley one's pretty good. The one that just came out, the Bentley one's funny.
Oh, that was fantastic in the Queen's car.
Yeah, they're playing around. Stop touching that.
Yeah,
Keep touching
he's
it.
like, I have a 4-year-old, and that I was thinking to myself, like, Chris, not Harris, the other Chris, Cooper. Thank you. He's like literally like a child, because that's what mine does. Like, just touches everything and all the buttons. And, yeah, that was very good. Like you, I obviously can't do this all the time in the winter, but it's part of my sort of therapy weekly is I literally will go out for a drive in the car. It used to be on a Friday afternoon if possible. Now more often than not, it's a Saturday or something, but I'll just put that on. I'll listen to them rattle on about cars and drive my own car. And it literally is, I mean, they've talked about other people who have messaged in and said, you know, you guys are like my weekly therapy. Like I view it the exact same way. It's a great outlet for sure. Yeah.
I love it. That's definitely my favorite podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
Other than Dashboard, of course.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
So when you got into cars, like what was that one car that, like, do you have that one car, I guess I should ask, that you were like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is my dream car. What's the poster on the wall?
It changes every single day. But for the longest time, it was a GT3 Touring. That was what I wanted. 991.2,
Yeah.
just probably green, silver wheels. I'd be the happiest kid on earth.
Are you going wing or no wing?
No wing.
No, touring.
Touring. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I know, but still.
Yeah, I mean, you'd take a GT3 with one, I suppose. But if you could have it all, that's a great
Yeah.
choice.
That would have been it. But now it's more the smaller cars. I really want a Lotus Exige. I'm finding every way possible to get one over here from England. But yeah, one day I'll make that happen.
Interesting. So we know I think the world knows basically from your Instagram. Otherwise, you have an Alpha 4C right now. I can't remember. You did have a different car prior to that, though. What? Talk us through your ownership, whether it's relatively short or impressive or otherwise. What's kind of been your progression?
Yeah, so I've had 4 cars now. My first car was a 87 Mark II Golf GT 2-door.
Fantastic.
Really cool car.
Yep.
I owned it for 2 weeks.
What?
I'm like, there's a story behind this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I bought that car after nerding out over Mark II Golfs for about a year. And turned out the gentleman had painted over all the rust on the floors. And that's a monocoque car, so you just can't fix it. So I had to sell it for parts after 2 weeks of ownership.
Oh,
no.
my God.
Yeah, that hurt. There was a lot of tears for a week or so there. But then went into a 2016 Hyundai Veloster Turbo, which was the first car I tracked and did all the kind of fun driving.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then transitioned into a 99 Miata, British Racing Green, metallic, manual, everything you could ever want.
Yep.
Very nice.
And then went from that into the 4C. So it was a pretty steep jump from the Miata, but I still miss that car.
Yeah.
You do like the small cars.
Oh, yeah.
Those all
Yeah.
have small footprints.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is, in my opinion, a good move. I agree that cars are very, very large now.
Yeah.
You feel so big on the road in new cars.
Yeah.
What the Golf, did it have the red sort of velour interior? Velour is maybe not the right
No,
word,
it
but
had, it definitely had cloth, but it had some what I would almost call bus inserts.
Nice.
Like
Oh,
really
yeah,
niche
yeah.
pattern.
Okay.
It was just fantastic. I loved that car, and then looked at the floors and realized I didn't love it anymore.
yeah.
But I will own one of those again at some point. The only poster I have on my wall is a Mark II Golf GTI, so it'll happen.
Well, you better get on the bandwagon because I think
Yeah,
they're on the
price-
up. I watched
prices
these
are
things
going up.
on Bring a Trailer, and people are paying mega premiums for those.
Just so you know, this guy also watches every other car on Bring a Trailer, so
Hey,
he
Just
doesn't
has
discriminate.
alert set to all.
Yeah,
you got to know what's going on.
yeah. It'd be cheaper if he worked there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, not to skip over the other two, but tell us a little bit more about, because I mean, the 4C, generally speaking, is a rare car. Like, I don't know how many they produce, but you don't see them. You must be one of a handful of people, even in Southwestern Ontario, to have one. How did you come across that, and where did you source it, and that whole backstory?
Yeah, so I actually went shopping for a Lotus. I didn't intend to buy a 4C at all. I was looking for either a Series 2 Lotus Elise or an Evora S. But with what I do with morning meets, more often than not, I might need to be on a radio or looking at my phone on the WhatsApp or something like that. So manual was starting to look less and less possible, just because I don't want to multitask that many things at
Yep.
once. It's just not safe.
Yeah.
So the Evora S was starting to look quite possible, and I really do like those cars. They sound great. They
Sound
look awesome. And
fantastic.
they're English, so that's even better. But there's like one of them for sale at any given point, and the specs are always terrible for some reason. And my friend, actually, who was a member at the time, had a 4C coupe that I'd followed around a little bit, and I really liked the way that it looked, but had never actually looked at values online or anything like that, because they just don't really pop up for sale.
No.
So then I had a quick sniff on Auto Trader in March of last year, and sure enough, there was a Spider for sale in Etobicoke. It had a little bit higher kilometers, but that's what I was looking for, because I knew I was going to drive this thing into the ground. So higher was almost better for me. So I DM'd the dealership on Instagram and said, I'm not ready yet, but in a couple months' time, if that car's still there, let me know and I'll come and test drive it or something. And Noah, the sales guy, said, "Oh, just swing by tomorrow." He knew exactly what he was
Classic
doing.
sales
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
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 We'll do a deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the time, I had $800 to my name, and that's not a joke. So, but I knew what was coming down the line a little bit. Hence, in a couple months' time, I'll be ready to shop. So I walked in, saw the car, sat in it, didn't even start it up, and went, "Yep, that's the one. Can I give you a down payment or a deposit or anything? What do I have to give you?" And he said, "Well, if you give me $2,000, I'll hold it till the weekend for you." So I had to borrow the money for the deposit to hold the car for the week. And then had to scramble the down payment, which was the most money I'd ever made. And then it all vanished into the car. But I haven't looked back ever since. And I picked the car up with 37,000 kilometers. I just ticked over 70 last week. So
Holy
wow.
smokes.
just over 30,000 in a year, which has been awesome.
Yeah.
That's a lot for
That is a lot.
for that car.
Yeah.
In Canada.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
That's impressive. Good job.
and those aren't
Thank you.
what traditionally you'd call like a GT car. Like, I mean, it is a monocoque car. They're allegedly, I've never driven one, never even sat in one, but they're not a quiet machine. I'm referencing a couple of Top Gear videos that we've all watched, obviously, and different challenge. I don't remember exactly who drove what where, but do you find it to be, is that just because you like, I mean, you come from Miata, it's not a quiet car either. Like, is that just kind of your vibe?
Yeah, I could deal with it for about the first 2 months and then had a real sinking moment when you're sat on the 401 and the car is trying to tram line into the next lane the whole time. And this horrible droning noise, and you look at the lease payments and a tear just kind of slowly comes down. But it's a little bit better now. I used to live up in Peterborough, so driving to Toronto was pretty much 2 hours every single way. So running all these events the whole season made that quite painful. But yeah, I do like really visceral cars, and no power steering and big single turbo makes that car just bananas to drive. I'll let all of you drive it. I'll come down there and we can go take it out for the day because it is just hilarious.
That car doesn't have power steering?
No,
I didn't know
No
that.
power steering.
it's
What's the point of that?
lightness, I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
Really? That's it?
It's a real car.
purist
Oh,
still.
fuck, boys. Don't give me that shit. Really, eh? I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, it weighs 2,400 pounds, I think.
Won't be late when I get my ass in there.
Yeah, right.
Good Lord.
So
Get you and I in there, Dill.
We wish we had power steering.
Yeah.
That's the least of our worries.
I was going to make a comment about percentage increases or something,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to go there.
All right.
Let's be an 8C by that point.
So tell us about, 30 some thousand kilometers on an Alpha sounds scary to me. Any horror stories, any bad news encounters?
Literally nothing. It's been so surprising. I went into that car quite blind.
Yeah.
I'm not the type of person to spend 6 months in the forums before I buy something. I just can't do that. My brain can't process it. So I kind of just went ahead and bought the car and then had a look. Fortunately, everything online said, for some reason, these 4Cs are almost bulletproof. And I've had no issues. I did circa 8 track days in the car last year, and all those kilometers, all I did was oil changes. That was it.
Wow.
That's good.
Yeah, that's
So
actually
it
really
cost
good.
me, it cost me something like $1,000 for servicing last year. We have a partner that helps me a little bit on the labor side of things, but still, not big numbers. I did just do the timing belts and auxiliary belts at the 70,000 mark. That was a little bit overdue, but even then, that wasn't huge amounts of money. I think that cost me just around $2,000 to do. I'm going to have to do brake pads and tires at some point here soon, but that's just consumables. So other than that, the car's been weirdly reliable. And I just started posting a little bit more online about the car and just kind of day-to-day and things. And a gentleman from England reached out, and he has a coupe with 130,000 miles on it.
Wow.
Oh,
So I had a really long conversation with him and said, look, I want to be there as well. So have you had any issues?
Yeah.
And he said exactly the same thing. Once you do all the maintenance scheduled stuff, the timing belts at 70K, etc., the cars are good to go, and he daily drives his. So fingers crossed. I don't want to jinx it, but the car's been very reliable so far.
Awesome.
I think you're usually, like, my outlook is you're usually pretty good on cars if you don't fuck with them. Like, don't send a 300 horsepower tune into a motor and expect to not have any issues.
Well, I don't know how that applies to my Cayenne, but I can tell you that's not the case.
Well, there's other issues you got. But if you do scheduled maintenance and you're like,
Keep up with it.
keep up with the car,
Yeah.
treat the car well, then usually you're all right.
Agree. Typically, usually,
Usually,
just not me.
not you.
Yeah.
You have a bad string of luck right now.
So Matt, I don't know where I read this or heard this, but there was something I knew at one point about, like you mentioned the tram lining and sort of the quirks of the car. And someone said that they were extremely sensitive to alignment. And when they got shipped here, ratcheting down on trucks or trains or whatever, like, and send them out of whack. So have you ever, like, you've done some track work, but have you ever had an alignment checked? Have you ever had any issues with that? Is that a thing that you're aware of?
Yeah, so some of the cars, there was a few different issues where blocks were getting left in the springs after inspection and things.
Oh, no.
And people weren't checking the alignments at all. My car had been used extensively before me. So long story short, our club used to own my car, which I didn't know. But it meant that car was looked after very, very meticulously. So I didn't need to worry about it going in. But the front end on these cars is like nothing else I've ever driven. You have to be two hands on the wheel at all times. Otherwise, it's in a bush, it's in a tree, it's in the next line. It's something like -2 degrees on both fronts, and then quite a lot of caster and all kinds of stuff going on. But a lot of owners will dial that out. I think I will when I get new tires, just because it is so extreme and it's starting to wind me up a little bit. But it's pretty bananas. You cannot let go, and it does that thing where if you're changing lanes on the 401, it kind of jumps to the next lane, which is really alarming. So
Especially in that
they
big car.
definitely had a lot of issues. It's very, very sensitive. When you drive it, you'll see. I'm not exaggerating. It will try and chuck you into a tree. It's very weird.
But on the track at speed, it's probably comfortable.
It's not bad. It means the turn in is just phenomenal. You just off the gas, let it settle a little bit, and then tip it in, and it's right there. That turn one at TMP is fantastic in the car.
So certainly, I wish you all the success. But going from a 4C to a 991.2 touring is a heck of a jump.
Yeah.
So is there an intermediary goal that you've got on your horizons?
A Lotus Emira would be fantastic.
Yes.
Nice little step.
Now, the all important question: are we going well, we already know what your thoughts on stick just from a practical, but are we going 2-liter AMG or are we going Camry V6?
It would have to be the V6.
Yeah.
Someone offered me one a couple months ago in the Nimbus Gray, silver wheels, the truffle interior.
Oh.
I was trying everything I could possibly do. I was looking at how much my kidneys were worth. It was a whole ordeal, but I couldn't quite stretch. So I will make that happen at some point.
That's the Harry Metcalf spec, isn't it? Or very nearly?
I saw his car. Yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
You guys are...
Two peas in a pod.
Yeah, what's the... Anyway, it doesn't matter. You're both from Britain is what I'm trying to say. You should... compatriots. You should drop them a line. But I think, to your point, that car's long gone now, isn't it?
Yeah, the Emira is done, I think. You can still get a... Oh, sorry, his car is gone. Yeah, well, I saw it for sale. Yeah. But you can still get the 4-cylinder. Whether or not you can still get the 6, I don't know. But the prices have gone insane on them. I don't know if you've looked at used values, but they haven't shifted since they were new, which makes no sense.
Yeah, that doesn't, because I assumed the whole reason Lotus is in the shape they're in is there's not a whole lot of demand for new ones. So why they're commanding that on the used is strange, but...
It's peculiar. It's a shame to watch from the outside. Lotus is a brand I adore, so to see what's going on with it is a shame, but I guess Porsche's balance sheets aren't as great either, so the whole market's in a bit of a pickle.
Yeah. Write that down, Mike. I got to put that on my watch list when I get home. You remind me of that?
They are a nice car.
I think
They are a
look-
really nice car.
They look
They
fantastic.
look way more expensive than they are.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was shocked when I first looked them up. I was like, oh my God, I thought that was going to be way more than it was.
Yeah.
That
there
would be
was
like-
two here at Porsche London last year, right? At the Cars and Coffee.
The dark green one and then the blue.
yeah.
I don't
right,
remember.
yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a couple around. They're great looking cars. I agree.
The
Yeah, I'm really good at getting the cars that look way more expensive than they are. The
Yeah.
4C looks $100,000 at least. But yeah.
this weekend you were at PAC for Cars and Coffee there.
Yeah.
Malachi Green 3RS. What'd you think?
I think that might be the best Spec 992 I've ever seen.
It was
period.
beautiful, wasn't it?
Both regular GT3 or RS. That car is stunning. I don't know whose it is, but
I don't
they
think
just nailed
so
it.
far nobody knows whose it is.
No, I was asking Lucas, and he was running around like a headless chicken trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
Yeah.
It's crazy because that guy knows
Everybody.
everybody's car, right? But
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
yes, obviously, whoever they are, they have great taste.
Fantastic taste. Interior is stunning. Stunning.
It was outrageous.
So
Just, yeah, I couldn't believe it.
So, speaking of that, then, tell us a little bit about what are your plans for, like, specifically for this year with Morning Meets? Is there some events that you want to kind of put out there to the world, and then maybe, just generally speaking, what's coming? Usually it's about growth. You obviously want to kind of grow the Morning Meets thing. What's coming next for the whole thing?
Yeah, so this year we're going for 60 events. Those will primarily be private. We don't tend to do the huge cars and coffees and things. I just don't know if I can have that many gray hairs. It's a real pain to do something like that. So primarily all private, but a new thing that I'm pretty excited for this year is we're doing something called the Secret Shoot series. So right at the end of last year, we got access to shut down the GP circuit and do a photo shoot on there with 70 supercars. So I want to make that a whole thing. I want to do all kinds of different photo shoots, whether that be modern classics, BMWs, Porsches, Ferraris, you name it. Not just on GP circuit, but really cool locations. So I'm pretty excited for that. But other than that, just more and lots more and better and more cars and more people. It's just going to be a really good season, I think.
right on. These 60 events, like, what are they kind of like? Give us an idea behind the curtain here. Like, are they
Yeah.
are they pull up in a parking lot? Are they we're gonna meet quick and then we're driving for 2 hours? What is it?
It's mainly driving, I would say. That's what people tend to lean towards. And we survey the members all the time to figure out what they prefer. But generally speaking, a median morning meets event is we do a pre-cruise meet for an hour. So we'll pick a coffee shop or somewhere to get breakfast early in the morning, kind of 6 or 7 a.m. And then the drive is typically 2 to 3 hours long. And then we'll finish somewhere at a coffee shop again. So that's kind of our bread and butter. We try and stay away from the public eye and just kind of have fun on the back roads and keep it kind of niche community in that respect. Not too many cars and coffees, but there will be a few of those sprinkled in between, and obviously track days and overnight tours and things like that. But my favorite thing is just a Sunday morning drive. So it kind of reflects in the membership as well.
Yeah, nice. So
Yeah.
with 300 members, you said, how many guys are you getting out on one of these Sunday drives? Not all 300.
No, we have to cap it. So we put a capacity on every single event, depending on whatever it is. Anything over 40 becomes a real logistical nightmare. So the sweet spot is 25 to 35 cars, give or take.
And still, that's a lot. Too.
And it is, yeah. And there's a bungee effect when you drive with that many cars. So
Yeah.
if you're doing 70 at the front, the guy at the back's doing 85 to try and keep up because he gets stuck at a stop sign or a light or something. So I like to keep them a little bit smaller. And we do our full, drivers meeting in the morning, and people kind of understand where to position themselves within the 20 cars. But the perfect number is kind of 25 to 30, I would say.
Have you had any horror stories with, run-ins with the law, or people just being knobs, or are they generally well behaved for the most part?
We're extremely strict on it. So in the drivers meeting, I say that I'm very, very happy to refund anyone today and send you on your way. It makes no difference to me. So we have a very, very strict policy on it. And the general ethos is if we're in public, we're going through a small town, we're on the highway, anything like that, nothing but the speed limit. And if I see you roll a stop sign or another member sees you roll a stop sign, this is the last drive you come on. So for sure, you get the cops called on you because
You're just
even if you're doing the speed limit,
Yeah.
people see a bunch of supercars and they go crazy, right? So there's been instances where people have been pulled over from the pack, but never any tickets or anything because they have nothing to ticket us on. So, but you're always going to get those reactions, right? Even if there's 4 of you going out in Porsches, someone's going to call at some point. People just don't love to see it. So that just comes with the territory, unfortunately.
Yeah. We know a bit about that.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like you have a very mixed group of people that come on these drives. What do you have people have these ideas Porsche guys are like this, Ferrari guys are like this, Lambo guys are like this. Do you find that to be true or no?
Yes. So
He didn't hesitate.
No.
not even slightly. So our whole application system, we do a lot of it judging people off their vehicles. You can tell a lot about someone by what they drive, and then if they attach a photo of what they drive, it can tell you even more about who they are. So if I see an M2 competition with a carbon fiber hood and TE wheels, there's going to be question marks, and I'm going to want a member reference. If I see a silver on silver 996, I feel a little bit more comfortable letting them in. But more specifically on manufacturers, most recently, I've found that the latest generation of Porsche owners are becoming the rowdier of the lot, which is not what I initially anticipated. That was not always the Porsche crowd, but 992 generation Porsche owners, if I dare say it, have become quite extreme.
They're the Lambo
come
owners?
out of they've come out of a Huracan and they've got into a GTS or a GT3 or an RS. That's been the latest trend that I've seen, but you can absolutely tell someone by what they drive.
I think that tracks. I mean, we've talked a little bit about, particularly through COVID, they were the thing to have and you couldn't get, and they were also the car that, and now mind you, it's not the only brand, but certainly there was an opportunity to not only not really lose money, but make. And then you got all these speculators that really didn't necessarily care about the brand or maybe what it stood for historically. Now they have these cars. So that doesn't, unfortunately, totally surprise me. No 992 owners in here. I was just going to say.
No, just us.
Just thin wallets and
Yeah, exactly.
There won't be coming from me, that's for sure.
No. Mike likes to trail in the back with his
Yep.
993 and just
But
cruise.
you heard them. The guys in the back are going faster.
Yeah, there
That's
you go.
probably why you guys put me in the back all the time.
Sorry, this is slightly unprofessional, but I just got a reminder that no one else saw it. So there's 5 minutes left in the meeting. Are we on the pro version today or non? Are we going to get cut off?
I don't think we'll get cut off.
I have no idea. This isn't mine.
Okay. Did we just get? We may have just. Matt, you
We just
had the
scheduled it
invite
for
an hour or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully then we'll carry on. I just didn't want to lose you sort of midway, but okay. Sorry, I've taken us a little bit off course there. So you mentioned these 300 members, as Dill said. It sounds like just by design they are all GTA residents. If you're doing Sunday drives, you are staying relatively local. Is that always the case, or you have some? You mentioned overnights. Like, how far will you kind of branch out? And are you considering maybe going into, doing trips in the U.S. or doing other sort of road trips, spring and fall, that type of thing?
Absolutely. So generally speaking, for a Sunday drive, we'll go anywhere from the Kawartha Lakes down to the Niagara region. So covering the GTA and then about an hour to 2 hours outside of that, up to Muskoka, out northeast towards the Kawarthas, anywhere around there is totally fine. If it's an overnight, we're probably driving 4 to 6 hours to get to the destination, give or take. We've done some stuff down in London. This year we did want to do a bit more in the US, but there's been a bit of hesitance from the members just with the kind of geopolitical stuff going on, entering and re-entering the country. So I'm hoping we can do some upstate New York stuff because I've heard the roads there are phenomenal. But that's going to be a kind of time will tell situation.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would love to get down there and get driving.
Yeah.
Very cool.
You need to.
It's good. It was good.
The condition of the pavement is what blows everybody's mind.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do
Okay.
it. It's perfect.
Yeah. And it's a cold climate. So yeah, it was very good.
Yeah.
So, morning meets, you teased a little bit. Are there any, is there anything on the horizon in terms of, you mentioned you got in the Sunday drives thing, you mentioned anything else that we should be watching out for later this year?
Yeah, all I can really say is watch this space. There's something much bigger than I'd ever anticipated coming probably within the next 2 months. So without giving too much away, watch this space.
So get your membership now, and then
Yeah.
you'll be on the ground level when, there you go.
What kind of membership numbers are you looking to hit? So around 300 now. Is 500 the number? 1,000 the number?
I'm not sure we want to grow much further than we have right now in terms of numbers, because I think you lose the personal aspect. I don't want to show up to a Sunday morning drive and I don't know anyone there.
Yeah.
That kind of loses it for me.
Yep.
So we upped our membership cost this year, and that filtered out quite a few people. But it's rapidly regaining back towards that 300 mark. And I think if we do hit that, I will probably close the applications. It's not a money thing at all. It's I don't want to show up on a Sunday and there's 50 cars here, but I know 2 guys. That ruins it for me. I want to be driving with people I know and friends and smiling faces. So any more than that, if we're doing 50 capacity per event with 300 people, it kind of works out, give or take, if you average it across. And we have all that data on our back end of out of 300 people, how many people went to over 10 events, etc. So hoping to not have to grow it any further than that if I can.
Yep.
And try and keep it a close-knit community if possible.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, right on. This whole morning meets it seems like a lot of work and effort. Are you doing this all alone, or do you got a small team with you? You got some people that are helping you?
So day to day, it's just me. And then come event time, there's a couple people that like to volunteer. And we have a good media team that cover our events. But just running the business side of things and setting it all up, that's just me at the moment.
Wow.
Right on.
Yeah.
Good on you.
That sounds like a busy day for sure. So the way to get, if you wanted to get a membership, do you have a website? Is it just through your Instagram, or how does it set up? How do the people check into this?
Yeah, so morningmeets.com, and then you'd hit apply there, and there's a full application along with the vehicle criteria list as well. You fill that out, and we tend to get back to people within 1 to 2 weeks, give or take.
Do you accept oil burning 996s in a certain shade of blue, or? And
That's exactly what I'm looking for.
there you
What's
go.
the shade? Why did you gotta do that?
It has silver wheels. I mean, it's all good.
Yeah.
That's a win.
I'm thinking 993s myself.
There you go. Any
Love a 993.
any plans in the future to go back to the UK and sort of organize either a drive or I have not done, but I'd love to sort of check out the North Coast 500 someday or that type of area. I don't know. I'm sure there are others, but is that on the horizon ever, on the bucket list?
Yeah, we've been slowly exploring what Euro trips could look like.
Yeah.
So fly in 15, 20 people, rent out a car for a week, and go do all the incredible roads that are in Europe. I know I want to do it myself, so I'm exploring how we do that. Obviously, the logistics are a bit funky when you start doing that, and it's a lot lower in terms of numbers, but definitely on the horizon.
Cool.
God, if you got 6 or 10 guys, that'd be lots on that.
Yeah. That would be enough.
It'd be crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that. To your point, it's a logistical bit of a nightmare, and if you're not splitting it a bunch of ways, it's also the king's ransom. So.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, yeah.
I got to say, it's nice to see, a young guy like yourself push the boundaries, push yourself, and really put some real effort in behind something that's typically not really, nobody really takes that seriously.
Yeah.
So congrats on that. Congrats on the Sunday drives.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah.
Does Morning Meats have a YouTube channel? You mentioned you're sort of dabbling in photography, but I can't recall. Do you do some videos on this stuff as well?
We're just starting to. I've just hired a photographer to kind of ghost me for the season.
Cool.
So we'll be doing a full behind the scenes. We just posted our first 2 videos, but there should be lots more to come there, and that's just Morning Meats on YouTube.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Right on.
Well, I know what I'm going to do later tonight. I'm going to go check out the application process.
Yeah,
and
me too.
I think the three of us in particular, not that we're over it, but I think that we appreciate the meet for a quick drink or a coffee, and then go out and put some miles on the car.
Yeah.
As much as it is, like to your point, it's nice to know and catch up with people. We only have limited time in our schedules, and I'd rather spend that driving than I would standing in a parking lot.
I think I said that exact thing on the last pod.
You did.
Did I not?
Yeah.
Like, I'm kind of done with the cars and coffee drive, hang out for a few hours, then go home. I'm like, let's make the drive worth it.
That's right. Spend it in the car instead.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you can make it fun with radios. That's always a good way of doing it.
Oh, radios are so key.
Yeah.
We learned that in New York. They're the best. Like we had
So much fun.
Was it Jones? Dave Jones there?
Yeah.
Where he was like, "Oh my god, I can never go on a drive again and not have a radio."
Yeah.
Yeah. It also made, it was just, you get a bit delusional on, 5, 6, 7 hours in, and it just, the banter kind of passes the time a bit. It does help. So
It's
Maybe I can bring my old Call of Duty headset somehow, and
yeah, just totally hands free.
Yeah.
That might be the move. I'm sure
That was
there's
awesome.
I'm sure there's a trucker in Brampton that could lend you
Probably.
one of those big,
Jesus. Good lord. Oh my god.
Well, Matt, on that note,
we'll leave it there.
yeah, we really appreciate you coming on. I think
Yeah.
this has been interesting, and I personally learned as much about the stuff your space as anything else. So
I see your post, but we don't know the behind the
well,
scenes.
exactly. Yeah.
So it's good to get that info.
You're right. We do have one last question though. You get your dream car, dream road, with whatever song's playing on the radio. What is it?
I was thinking about this morning. I think it's a Series 1 Lotus Exige in the North Yorkshire Moors in England. And I think Horse with No Name would be pretty good.
Good
Yeah.
choice.
Wow.
Good choice.
I have no idea what
Yeah.
that is.
So
boys. Horse with no name, no idea.
Yeah.
What is
Class,
that?
classic rock, Dill.
Really?
Yeah.
Like the Deftones.
America.
you struck a chord with
Is
Mike
America? America.
I think it is. Yeah. I may have even got the title wrong. Let me check.
No, Horse with No Name is the right title.
There you go.
Oh, well, I'll have to look this one up, boys.
We'll put that one on the playlist.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah. We're gonna create a
We
dashboard
stumped, we stumped
playlist.
Bill. Doesn't take much.
No,
Listen, I have a reasonable vocabulary. I don't know that one either, so I'm with you on this one, Bill.
there you go.
Yeah.
But it's been fun. I
Yeah, it's
appreciate
been fun.
it. That's it, boys.
Yeah.
Thank
It's
you very
another one
much.
in the can. They say.
Yeah.
We will do our very best. We had a little bit of a moment of a panic on the last one, so I think the third time's the charm. We got this sorted, but stay tuned and we'll get this out to you and share it across the platforms.
Yeah.
That's
All right.
awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Appreciate it,
Good
man.
night.
All right, Matt. Take care.
We'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.